Hey crafty friends, let's use up some of our craft supplies today to make a really cool masculine card. I have a brother whose birthday is coming up shortly, and I've been thinking about this card for him since I saw some inspiration online. Today what we're going to be using is, let me get the measurements for you. We're going to use a regular size card base, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I have a piece of dark gray. I'm going to use 3 different shades of gray here. So the darkest gray is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And that's going to be kind of our base. And then I have a lighter gray. This is my medium color. This is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and that'll be layering on top of this. I ran this through, hopefully, yeah, it shows up great, I think. I ran this through the embossing folder that's called Metal Plate. And if you haven't used these before, they're like little folders. You put your paper in there, close it up, run it through the embossing machine, and you come out with great textures. So I like to use those whenever I can. And then I'm going to use some of the lightest gray for my words and my odometer. So this card is going to be an oldometer and show somebody going from one age to another. In this case, it's going to go from 59 to 60. And so actually, I think I'll glue this on first. I've used some die cuts to cut out my numbers. You can use stamps or die cuts to whatever size you have, and you may change the size of your paper a little bit to accommodate that. I'm using thin cuts from the Simple Serif lowercase set, and I've cut out 60 and 59. Somewhere. I know I'm going to find a 5. There we go. And so I'm going to glue these on. So the 60 is fully showing and the 59 is recognizable, but going off the bottom edge of my paper here. For these size letters, I cut these 2 light gray rectangles to 1 inch wide by 1 3/4 inches long. But again, you'll want to adapt that to the size of your numbers. And I think this would be fun to do also with number stamps. And I know that August paper pumpkin kit, which I've just ordered, has an extra stamp set that comes in it that has numbers, so you can use it for all kinds of birthdays and kind of personalize it a bit more with someone's age. So I'm just gluing down these numbers that I cut out, and we'll give that a minute or two to dry. So see, I want the 5 to be kind of, you know, starting to go past there, going off the bottom, and I'll cut off the very bottom of it, but you'll still be able to tell it was a 5. And if you were doing something like going from, say, 51 to 52, you could just put a 5 in the center of this square, and then the 2 and the 1 on this side. So the idea is for this to look like an odometer, counting down the miles or the ages, the years. All right, and then let's stamp our oldometer. I'm using letter stamps from the Back to Basics alphabet, and I'm going to use some gray color called slate ink. Now, you might notice when I do this, I'm going to be missing an E. So a lot of times when you want to stamp a word that has more than one of the same letter in it, you might have to do it in 2 steps. So when I laid it out, I put the E where the first E had to go, and then kept going and laid out the T, and then I moved the E, but now I'm gonna have to come back and stamp that extra E in the middle here. So I'll just move the E by itself, line it up, and now I've got Oldometer. And then we are almost ready to assemble here. I've also cut out some mats for the Oldometer and for these numbers that will add a little bit of bling. I'm using here a scrap of holographic paper that I had, but I've just ordered some gold, some silver foil paper from Stampin' Up! That I'll use in future cards because I think it'll go a little bit better with the gray. But keep those little scraps of shiny things because they really add to your cards. So I'm going to do one more thing on this silver plate background, which is add a couple of brads. So I've poked holes where I want them to be already, but I want to add these before I put it down. Oh. Dropped one. And these are just some old embellishments that I haven't quite used up and saved, and anything metal would be good here. There are some little pieces of bling that are called industrial elements, I believe, that are you can get at Stampin' Up, but they're currently out of stock. So I've got that on my wish list for the future. And that would be really cool for these. They look like little screw heads. All right, so we've got that there. Now I'm going to glue this down after I put the brads in. I'm going to put a good amount on this because it's textured and a little bit heavy. Line that up. We'll let that dry for a second. We'll do the stamping on the inside. I'm using the words happy birthday from another stamp I had. This is from card captions, close to my heart stamp set that has all kinds of great words in it. It's great to get stamp sets like that and just kind of keep them close to your desk for when you're looking for sentiments. So I'm using the same slate color ink on the inside. Nice, crisp, happy birthday. So I'm going to just use my paper trimmer to trim the very bottom of this, even with the cardstock piece. You could use little snips if your scissors are nearby. There we go. And then I will center these on the shiny paper. And so just cut your shiny mat. I cut a 1/4 inch wider and a 1/4 inch longer than the cardstock I'm using, which again, you might have to adjust to the size of your numbers, letters, numbers. And that gives you like a nice 1/8 of an inch kind of border around it. You can go smaller. Sometimes I stamp on both sides and then decide which one looks straightest or cleanest. The shiny paper is kind of slick, so you may have to like hold it down while that glue dries to keep all the edges down. And then we will put the card base, the card front onto our card base, which, you know, we cut just a little bit lower, a little bit shorter on each side, so you'll get a nice, just really slim white border. I love how this diamond plate looks, and my brother is a card person, so I think he'll really like that. And then we're just gonna glue on our Oldometer label here. Right about there. And then our numbers. The other set of numbers. And I think this card will be really useful for lots of occasions, lots of different people's birthdays, especially when you know how old they're going to be. And especially when you want to tease them about getting older. All right, this is not sticking too well. I think I need to go heavier on the glue because of the texture underneath it. There we go. A beautiful masculine birthday card. I'm gonna re-glue that. I can't wait to give it to my brother.